Hey, welcome back everyone. Thanks for tuning in. So this is the moment that nobody's been waiting for, the final installment of my focus series. If you're just tuning in, do not cheat yourself. Go check out the other two videos, link in the description. It starts with zone focusing, and then the second video is distance scaling. And this third video, yes, how to focus by feel. And you're gonna need to learn these in stages because this aspect kind of involves everything. So no more using your rangefinder patch, no more zone focusing, no more using your focus prism, just straight up Jedi shit. All right, so before I get into this, let me just give you kind of a couple prerequisites. Street photography in itself has been going around for decades and decades and decades. So I'm sure there's some kind of variation of this. To be honest, nobody taught me this. I kind of just discovered it on my own. There's no YouTube videos on this, so I believe this is the very first one. So again, this took me kind of 6 months to kind of master the zone focus. It was just all at once, so it was just kind of a headache to figure out. But I did it. I don't have to worry about that aspect. And again, I've tested this. I use on the street, I use a 28 millimeter and a 35 millimeter. It works perfect for this. I don't really shoot on a 50, but this should work for pretty much everything because it's more so about principles and just applying it. And technically, this should all work for all focal lengths. It just gets really difficult when you're shooting about 50 and above, like 90, something like that, because having a long focus throw, it's kind of weird. And again, I shoot a lot of street, so this is ideally for street photography use. So also, before I get into it, you know, I'm never gonna have a stadium named after me, a statue, a park named after me, or a sex move like D. Sanchez. So when you master this technique and people ask you, yo, how do you focus so quick? Please say, oh, I use the J. Rose technique. Just say that, please. Just give me one, you know? Just say I use the J. Rose technique, all right? All right, so let's get into it. All right, so here we go. All right, do you remember this diagram that I did for zone focusing? So this is pretty much these are the numbers and the scaling that is on your lens here, right here. And basically infinity, and this is all in feet, by the way. Everything I'm gonna do is in feet. You can figure it out in meters, whatever suits you best. So remember this, so this is infinity, and you move this, and then this is F16 zone here, and then everything within here, all that kind of stuff. All right, just a little refresher. So now I'm going to update this. See this piece of paper now. This here is going to represent every single distance on my lens here. So this is according to this lens. It's going to be different if you're using an SLR such as this. The numbers are just going to be different. And again, through application, it's all the same thing. So these are the numbers that are going to be on this specific Leica 28 millimeter, all right? So, and those numbers are in feet again, 2.5 feet, 3 feet, 3.5 feet, 4 feet, 5 feet, 6 feet, 8 feet, 12, 30, infinity, all right? So all those numbers are literally on my lens here. All right, the first rule that you want to do, it's very, very important, which is you want to put your focus always on your default, and your default will be infinity, always, all right? This is very, very important. So your default now is infinity. So imagine, here's a little dumb analogy for you. Imagine if you're driving a stick shift car, your default is neutral. You just put it in neutral and you can figure everything out from neutral, right? All right, same thing. Your default now is infinity. So before you take a photo, your lens should always be infinity, okay? And let me tell you why this method is actually better than another method that I actually heard, which is I heard a focus by feel. If you put your focusing tab directly in the middle, and if your subject moves closer, you just move it to the left. And if your subject is further away, you move it to the right, all right? So what happens if you don't have a focusing tab? Aha, aha. So like an SLR, you have no focusing tab. So this is why I feel this technique is superior, because even with an SLR, you still have an infinity focus point, you know? All right, so this works for both SLR and rangefinder. All right, so always have your marker, your focus marker at infinity before you take a photo and after you take a photo, okay? This is very, very important. Here's another dumb analogy for you, just because I'm really trying to make this concrete. Let's say back in the day in the Westerns of, you know, people having guns in their holsters. When a cowboy or whatever, some outlaw wants to shoot somebody real quick, they take it from their holster and shoot, right? Boom. You know what they don't do is reach for their holster and like, oh shit, where's my gun? Is it in my sock? Is it in my left side? Is it, you know, is it in my coat? Like, no, they always have it in their same exact place, because when push comes to shove and you need to shoot a motherfucker, boom, boom, and you put it right back. So this is the same idea. You always want to have your focus point at infinity, always, okay? All right, now let's move on. So now, so you see these numbers here? It's a lot of numbers, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 numbers, including infinity. So now what you need to do is you need to simplify these numbers. It's just too many numbers to memorize and to think about, right? So now, this is what I've done, and this is what you're gonna do. So see in between here, 12 and 30 on my lens, you're going to, this number is important here, 15 feet, all right? And then now this number here is important. In between the 8 and 12, 10 feet, all right? Now this number here, also very important. On my lens, it's already there. So 6 feet. And then all the way over here, 3 feet. So now you have infinity, again, another very important number, 15, 10, 6, and 3, all right? All the other numbers, don't even worry about now, all right? So now I made this very easy to simplify things. You turn it around. I've already highlighted these numbers for you. So we have infinity, 15, 10, 6, and 3, okay? So why did I pick these numbers? Again, this is totally subjective. Whatever numbers or focus distance you use, whatever. It's just important that you use a few, 3, 4. So I used 15 feet, 10 feet, 6 feet, 3 feet, because this is what I notice that I shoot at these focus distances the most often, all right? So infinity is infinity, that's a given, okay? So you don't even have to worry about that, you know, it's easy to find on your lens. So now 15 feet, I found that I shoot at 15 feet when I want to shoot someone across the street. You know, they're not at infinity, but they're not up close, like 15 feet is there. So I shoot at there often. And then 10 feet, I found that 10 feet is usually about a full body's photo. So when someone is at 10 feet, it typically shows that it's their entire body. So I shoot at there a lot. And then 6 feet, now we're getting into more specific. So that's what I found is people from like their waist up is 6 feet away. So I shoot at there a lot. And then 3 feet is those instances where someone is like coming by me and I want to boom, grab them really quick. That's 3 feet. So maybe at an arm's length right here. And I can shoot them really quick. All right, so now you're kind of getting the idea. So these 4 distances as well as infinity are very, very important. So now what do you do with these numbers, okay? Let me show you. So everything, you're again, your lens is always at infinity, right? Before you shoot and after you shoot, it's always at infinity. So since it's at infinity, what you're going to do now is you're going to put 15 in your muscle memory, the 15 feet away. You're going to put that in your muscle memory. So your lens should always look like this when you're focusing. Over here, over here, over to this. All right? I'm going to use this as the focus point here. So it's at infinity, over, over. So before you take the shot, move it to 15, you take the shot, and then you put it back to infinity, all right? This. So now what you're doing is you're putting this motion in your muscle memory. This is the feel part. So for me, I can feel just like my little, my pointy finger, I can just feel it move ever so slightly, and that's at 15, see? So again, I'm just adding that into my muscle memory and I'm feeling how far I actually have to move my pointy finger to get it to 15. And it's ever so slight. It's not too much, then I'm all the way over at 10 feet, 6 feet, whatever. Just enough to get to 15. All right? Now that you kind of got that in your muscle memory or feel, now you're gonna go move on to 10 feet. So now, again, always at infinity, you move to 10 feet. You move that lens over to 10 feet. And again, over and over and over. So now, same thing. Now I'm moving my lens. I'm feeling it. How does that feel? Okay, it's not, I'm moving that digit over just a little more, and that puts me at 10 feet. So now I'm memorizing through feel and muscle memory where 10 feet is on my lens. See, I was a little over, I was actually at 12. I need to do it a little more at 10 feet. Boom, right there. So now that is in my muscle memory, okay? And I think you're kind of getting the pattern here. Now you move on to 6 feet, right here. Over and over and over and over. 6 feet here. So for 6 feet for me, because I have a focusing tab, it's just off the center. So if I were to put my focusing tab directly in the middle, that puts me at 4.5 feet. So this is where I feel that I'm just off the center at 6 feet, right there. All right. So again, I'm putting this into my muscle memory and into my feel on how far my finger has to bend to get me at 6 feet. I was at 7 feet right there, 6 feet, perfect. So this takes a while to do. And then, as you guessed it, same thing with 3 feet. You put it at infinity, and then you put it all the way over to 3 feet. Again, So this is a long kind of focus throw, but over here to 3 feet. Back to infinity, over to 3 feet. Back to infinity, over to 3 feet. Back to infinity. So this, for me, this is where this is just all feel. So I'm at infinity and I have to bring my focus all the way over to 3. And what I noticed is once my finger right here curls all the way over, that usually puts me at 3 feet. Again, this might be different on your lens or whatever focal length. This is the feel part. When I feel that my finger goes all the way over to where it lets go, that usually puts me at 3, and it's exactly at 3. So 3 feet for me is even more so by feel, because I'm feeling where my finger curls and it just lets go, all right? And it's 3 feet every time. And again, this, you can still apply this to an SLR, because it's like you have to just, all you have to do, any lens, any whatever, all you have to do, always have your lens at infinity. So again, you know where your gun is. It's not in your shoulder, it's not in your hat. You know where your lens always is at every single moment when you take a photo. It's at infinity. So now it's just a matter of, okay, where's my 15? All right, my 15 is there. Okay, where's my 10? All right, it's just a little more. So this lens is very tight. So from 15 to 10, it's like a matter of moving just a little bit. And then to 6, cool. And then 3 is, again, very tight. So now it's just a matter of feeling. So if you guys are familiar with my work and some of my videos, you've actually seen me pick up a foreign camera or pick up this SLR that I haven't shot in forever. Like this, I shot this in Bali and I haven't shot it in maybe a year. And all I had to do was just focus by feel and kind of put those 4 distances, 15, 10, 6, and 3 into my muscle memory. And no joke, all my photos were sharp. I even did this in another video when I picked up my homie's X-Pan or TX1. You can do this with any camera, so this is why this is so advantageous and why I feel it's so helpful. And again, this is all easy in theory, but tremendously hard in practice. I'm gonna repeat it, easy in theory, but really hard in practice, because now you have 4 different focal distances that you have to memorize in sight as well, to be like, okay, so that's 15. Okay, let me find it on my lens. Let me find it on my lens. Okay, that's 15. Boom, I can shoot, you know? And then same goes with, okay, that's 10. Boom, I can shoot. And then 6, that person's 6 feet away. Let me find 6 feet on my lens. Okay, shoot. And then let me just kind of practice, give you guys, see what I'm talking about. Let me properly expose this. I'm gonna take a photo of the camera right here. So I'm at f2.8, 30, and I'm just gonna kind of show you what I'm talking about. That's about 3 feet. So I'm at infinity, right? So I bring up my camera and I should just roll it over and take a photo. And I'm gonna put it up there to see if it's in focus. I'm looking at my rangefinder patch. Yeah, it's just about there. A little tiny bit off, but again, you saw how fast that was. And I wasn't even really practicing. That's just literally through intuition. But yeah, that's pretty much it, to be honest. But I'm gonna show you a couple little games that I play, like little warm-ups before I shoot. I told you in other videos that I look like a crazy person when I'm shooting by myself, because literally this is what I'm doing. I do this as a warm-up. Let me show you. So I made this as if it were a basketball hoop. I like sports, whatever, but you'll get the idea. So this is the focus throw right here, right? So this is this. The little 3-point line is this focus throw, all the way over here to back. So this is infinity. Here, let's say this will be 15. This is 10 on my lens. This is straight away is 4.5, so this should be 6. This should be 3. So these are the games that I play with myself to just get me warmed up. When I do this every time I shoot for 15, 20 minutes. I'm just setting my muscle memory, like, okay, cool, that's 15, that's 10, that's 6, whatever. So I bring my lens to infinity, always, obviously. Then I go to 15. Cool, I got it. And then I go to 10, and then I go to 6, and then I go all the way over to 3, all right? And then the game I play is if I miss the shot, or if I miss my distance, like, boom, I'm here. I'm like, I gotta start over. Okay, go to 15, got it. And then I go back, then I overshoot it, and I'm like, I start all over. I go to 15, go to 10, then I go to, let's say I misshoot 6, and I'm here at like 7 or 8, I start all the way over. I go to infinity here, 10, then I go to 6, back to infinity, and then I end up, I'm at 4 feet. I start all over. It's almost like you can call it around the horn, you know, kind of, for basketball or photography. So I start all the way over, and I try to nail it every single time. 6, boom, to 3. And then when I've done that, I'm like, okay, I do that maybe one more time, here, here, here to here, and then I'm like, okay, I'm ready to shoot. And again, this is just something that I've just kind of developed myself, a game that just keeps me sharp. And yeah, man, I've never had to really focus or use the rangefinder patch in literally, I think, over a year now. Actually, an interesting little tidbit is I was talking with Samuel, and we were talking about how we align our photos till we get them in camera. And he was just like, oh, I use my, my frame lines on the edges, but on my CLE, they're kind of warped. And I looked and I was like, oh, I've never really thought about that, because what I use to frame my photos up in camera to where they're straight, I actually use the rectangle, the rangefinder patch, because I don't use my rangefinder patch to focus. Like, everything is by feel and on point anyways. So I actually have the advantage of still being in the moment and still getting the shot and not taking my focus off and looking all the way over here to make sure my image is straight. I'm still looking dead in the center because I'm using my rangefinder patch to even out the image, because I don't use it for focus, like, no. So imagine if you have to use your rangefinder patch for focus, and then you're looking over there and trying to line everything up and then make sure it's back and forth, and it's just like, that's too much time, bro. Like, you've already missed the moment, you missed the shot. So these are some advantages that I've found by just being so quick and knowing your tool. And I'll give you an example of what it kind of looks like when I kind of take a photo. So usually my strap is around my neck, and I usually always have, again, my focus is always at infinity, so I always know where it's at. And this is how fast I focus, or how fast you can get to a certain point, is from this moment, from my photo on the chest, looking, I see something. From this moment, from here, that's when I'm in focus. You seen me earlier take a shot of this camera, and it's just like, that's how fast I'm focusing, and that's how fast I'm getting the shot. So what is that, like half a second from when my camera is on my chest to here? In this time frame, that's when I'm focusing. So I see something at, let's say I see something at 10 feet, I'm at 10 feet right there. It's actually a little over at 8. See, I need to practice that muscle memory. But it should still be, boom, 10. That's better. All right, so from here to here is when I'm focusing. That's how fast you can get to it. Because I felt I was so slow when I was putting the camera up to my eye, and then I was like, okay, hold on, over. Oh, I went over to the left too far, back to the right, boom. And it's just like, bro, that's too much time. And I wouldn't sweat things in the very beginning, because let me show you this. This is kind of a cool cheat code. If you're familiar with zone focusing, I'm gonna do F8. So this represents F8, right? If you're familiar with zone focusing, your zone actually becomes kind of like a parachute or a net, safety net. Because look, if I miss shoot, everything is here, right? At infinity. Let's say I'm trying to get at 6 feet blind and I overshoot it right here, right? Where am I? Oh, I'm actually at 6 feet. Hold on, let me overshoot it more. I overshoot 6 feet and I'm all the way over here. I just missed. I have to really overshoot, but I just missed 6 feet. You see that? But what if I just missed it by this much? Look, 6 feet is still in my zone. Or let's say I overshoot 10 feet, I'm at infinity, and I overshoot 10 feet, and I land on, let's say I land on 6. Guess what? I'm barely getting in that zone, like 10 feet is still in my zone. So this actually, your zone, if you're shooting at F16 at F8, I wouldn't worry about getting things exact at 15, at 10, at 6, because you still have this as your safety net. But look what happens when you're at F4. If you overshoot and you don't have your distances at muscle memory, like I'm trying to do 6 feet, and I land on 5 or 4, look, you've overshot the shot and now it's not in focus. So don't heavily rely on your zone as a backup plan, but it's there to actually help you out. So this is actually at F4. So this is where you need to be on point at F4. And let me show you, this is your zone at F2.8. Bro, you just have to be on the money each time. But again, that comes with practice. So you're at infinity and you're trying to get at 6 feet. So, trying to get at 3 feet. So put it at, let's say I'm trying to shoot something at 3 feet at F2.8. So I have to have that in my muscle memory all the way over, and boom, at F2.8. I'm telling you, when you master this, when you can shoot things on point at F2.8, focus by feel, it's the most gangster feeling ever. I'm telling you. Because it's like, I'm at F2.8. Let me try to take another shot. I'm at F2.8, I see something, and I just take a shot real quick. That's at F2.8. I'm like a smidge off of 3. Anyways, I'll try to show the photo here to see how I got it. All right, so that's pretty much it, guys. Go out and practice. Where I am at with focus by feel, I'm just gonna be perfectly honest. I'm still calculating a lot, and I should stop it because I should know this stuff by heart. But I'm still, what I told you guys, I'm like a freaking madman. I'm like 18, 15 feet. I'm like, okay, they're at 6 feet. Then I'm trying to look for it on my lens, 6 feet. And then I look, I'm like, ah, fuck. So I'm still doing that. But when push comes to shove, and when a photo pops up and it's all instinct, no joke, I get the shots in focus almost every time. And I'll actually show a clip right now of one instance where I went from 15 feet to 3 feet to 10 feet in a matter of like 30 seconds or so. And that was just pure instinct. I'm not calculating anything. I'm not memorizing my lens. I'm literally letting all the hard work kind of just do it itself. And I'm literally taking photos by instinct. And you've seen my other videos where I discuss the best roll I ever shot. Some of my favorite shots were at spur of the moment, and it's purely instinct. And that's ultimately what you want to get to. And I would say in a roll, 24 exposures, I would say 4 shots are purely focused through instinct, because you just don't have time to calculate 15. I'm out of my head at that moment, and I'm just literally shooting through feel and instinct. And that's your ultimate goal, where you want to get at. And I should trust myself way more, all this, and just enjoy and let kind of my hard work speak for itself and trust where I am. But yeah, there are times when I'm calculating too much, getting myself in the moment, but when push comes to shove, when I need a photo, I'm very quick and I get the shot no matter what. So yeah, guys, that's it. That's the whole how to focus by feel. I hope you guys kind of practice this. If you work hard enough and go out there and put in the work, I guarantee you can master this in 3 months, and you will literally never have to rely on focusing ever again, really, especially the rangefinder patch or the focus prism. Again, 3 months. This took me about 6 months to just figure out some kind of method. But if you put in the work in 3 months, I'm not even joking, focusing will never be an issue for the rest of your life, especially when you're doing street photography. You'll get so quick, and it's going to actually be fun when you nail focus. And for me, in my journey, this is why it would be very hard for me to go back to digital, because there is no process like that. Focus by feel and just getting shots that are shot wide open, and you kind of memorize distances, and it's just so much going on. And once everything is just automatic, it's just so much fun. But yeah, I hope this was helpful. I did my best to kind of, explain things to dum-dums like myself. If a dum-dum can learn this, another one can too. All right, guys, so you know the deal. Just be cool, be nice, be sexy, be positive. Please call this the J Rose technique, kind of like the Dirty Sanchez.